Hello, welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at a very interesting Pokemon here. We're going to have the XL version of Rhyperior. I actually built this Pokemon together with a Togekiss just because of this video here. I kind of want to try, especially the backline out of here. If you have a Giratina, either version, please try this team with Giratina in the lead. Should be amazing as like basically Giratina covers for everything that the backline cannot really beat. So here we're also going to run the Wild Charge version of the Zacian. I don't know if there's some play rough versions in there as well still. I played around, I think, 4 sets with this team. I had a lot of fun. I would definitely recommend you Wild Charge or Play Rough just because there are a ton of Pokemon that you really want to beat with a Wild Charge. For example, the Ho-Oh or for example the Kyogre. Both of them are kind of awkward otherwise with this team, as you will be able to have here a nice farm down hopefully from this Togekiss. Togekiss is of course a very good charm user here. Currently we will be able to go for 1 Ancient Power, which is going to get the final shield by the opponent, and this allows us to farm them all the way down here as they cannot get to 2 Iron Heads in time anymore. Iron Heads comes through, they're going to get farmed down, and there is still the Garchomp in the back that cannot do anything. I'm not going to go even for a move here. I think I'm just going to farm them all the way down, as even the Sand Dome, like, it doesn't really matter. We won't be able to win this first game here at least. Let's see the second one. Second one, we're going to see Rhyperior against a Mamoswine, and this is horrible. Mamoswine is a core breaker for this team. Also in general, if you have Giratina in the lead or whatever, it would be also a core breaker. But Mamoswine is pretty rare, so didn't really expect to see it that often, but we will be able to go for 1 charge move here, going to be the close combat here, which will be able to get the shield. And we see a Lugia coming in, and this is the reason why you won Wild Charge. Wild Charge will be able to now go for basically doing half of Lugia's health, and we will be able to hit another one here, which will get the rest of it if they wouldn't shield, but they're going to shield and they're going to farm you all the way down. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my Rhyperior as a shield. They're going to go for the Arrow Blast. It doesn't even do half. But sadly, they're going to boost here, which means we have to shield up this move. I didn't really want to shield up here, but I have to. And I will be able to farm them all the way down, which is kind of nice because at least I get some energy now. And the Mamoswine shouldn't be the biggest issue anymore because we have the energy. But my opponent actually going to go into the Mamoswine here. We can shield up the final move there of them as they're going to go for the Avalanche. But they're going to go now to the Giratina, which is very horrible for me. There's no lot that I can do about this here right now. I can go for 1 Ancient Power, but I still need some energy for the Mamoswine later, so I'm going to go ahead and go into my Rhyperior. I'm trying to farm them all the way down. They're going to go for 1 Shadow Ball and nearly knocks me out. I have to go for my Surf now. And this is not the ideal scenario for me. I will be able to go for the Surf, gonna get them low. 1 Charm is enough to knock them out, but I have to get to the Flamethrower, and I will be able to get the Flamethrower just barely in time here, which will knock out the opponent's Mamoswine, which will be a very good game here. Next opponent, Gyarados in lead. Horrible lead again. We have to swap out immediately into our Zacian, which gets greeted here by 1 Mewtwo. Mewtwo going to throw the move before I do my move, which is kind of nice because I don't really want to get debuffed first, because now I can take 1 Side Strike. Afterwards, I will not be able to take 1 Side Strike. This Wild Charge gonna get shielded there from the opponent. I'm going to shield up the next move here as well because I kind of want some damage on the opponent. But I wouldn't shield up another one because I think I would just get farmed down then, which I don't really want to have here. But they have to throw still, and they're going to throw, which is also kind of okay for me. Actually going to shield here because I need the damage on the Mewtwo. Never mind. And I will be able to go for the charge move here. This will be able to nearly knock out the opponent. I can try to snipe him with the Togekiss, which works out pretty well, but sadly my opponent has the answer on the back that I didn't really want to see, which is going to be the Excadrill. I could have thought of it because like they're gonna have something in the back that can beat charm users as well as Dialga, and that's basically what Excadrill does, so not too surprised. Like based on team comp, this does make a lot of sense. And sadly, they will be able to now go ahead and go for 1 Drill Run. I can farm them down if I wanted to, but like they're going to swap out just in time, and barely I cannot get to the Wrecker here to knock out the opponent. So good game there. Close one still, but good game to my opponent. Next opponent, we'll see a Giratina in the lead. This is a little bit tricky here. This is the thing when you run Wild Charge on your on your Zacian here. This is the kind of problem with Giratina. I'm going to try to bait my opponent of thinking that, oh, I might have the Play Rough. Let's see if my opponent falls for it, and sadly, they're going to stay in here. And this is not ideal. This sometimes happens, but like I really want them to swap out. Can you please swap out, please? No, they don't, so I'm going to be forced to go for 1 Wild Charge here, which is going to get the shield at least. So they didn't know that I don't have a Play Rough, which is nice. No, they know, of course. And now they will be able to farm me all the way down. But already you have them low and got a shield advantage here as well, which is nice. And I will be able to go into my Togekiss. I know already that they don't have the move Ancient Power, so I don't really have to shield here because they don't do super effective damage. They're gonna go for the Shadow Sneak, which does basically nothing, and I can farm them all the way down, but we are not in alignment. And sadly, we're going to see a Kyogre coming in here, which is not something I want to see, as the Ancient Power doesn't do a ton of damage either. I try to farm down, but they seem to lag a little bit there at least, but not too much. They're gonna go for the Surf. I thought their game crashed, but it doesn't. And now they're like a little bit clunky. I don't know what's wrong. Maybe they have some connection issues or whatever. Anyway, it definitely does help us here for getting to another move there. But also what's really cool here, we see a Yveltal coming in, we see a Rockrakka coming in, and is another one enough to knock them out? Let's see, Rockrakka is coming through, this is super effective, this is stab, and this does still not knock them out. Kinda surprised, to be fair. Rockrakka is such a strong move. I think it's 100 damage for 50 energy or something, or even higher. It could be also 120, but I'm not sure. But it's still, yeah, it still didn't knock out the opponent, which is kind of sad, but it's okay. We see the Mewtwo coming in against us here. Mewtwo is a Pokemon that is a little bit tricky for this team as well. Again, if you had the Giratina in the lead here, which would be the ideal version, Mewtwo would be a very good matchup for you. But like this, it's a little bit tricky. I'm going to let the next move go through, which is going to be the Shadow Ball. Interesting choice by the opponent here, as we can go for one more Surf, which will get the final shield by the opponent. I'm going to swap out into my Zacian, and we get greeted here by Metagross. This is something that I don't want to see, but the good thing here at least is I will be able to align my Pokemon, I guess, because I can shield up this move, and I think I should. Yeah, I should shield it up. The reason why I really wanted to shield this move up here is because I don't think that my Rhyperior still has enough health for winning this, but this is actually the first and only time ever so far that my opponent had the bug that I always have. I cut out always my battles where I basically lag out, where I disconnect, where my game just crashes. But here I guess my opponent had the same issue that I had. This was the only one that I faced so far. On my side I had at least 25 times already, but my opponent this time around also has it, which is kind of nice. Let me know in the comment section if you have the bug currently. You can completely avoid it, I'm just too lazy for it, to be fair. You can still, at least at this point while I'm recording the video, download an earlier version of the game, which is still not forced to upgrade, and you don't have the bug anymore on Android, and it's only an Android only bug, so if you have iOS, you also don't have the bug, which is nice. Next team is a team that I faced, sadly, I think 2 times or something. I don't know if both of them are in here. This is the most likely best non-legendary team that you can run. This is the Dragonite, which is very awkward for the lead here. Also, if you had Giratina, it's a little bit awkward. You're going to have the Metagross, and you're going to have an Excalibur in the back. And if you take a look at my team, there is basically literally nothing I can do here. I think maybe next time I see, decide to just dip out of there because I knew that was this Pokemon in the back. Next time, maybe I should try to save swap into my Togekiss. But even then, it doesn't really matter, to be fair. Then they just get a ton of farm with a Metagross. I think there is just no way of winning this game, to be fair. I think there's nothing I can do. Against Dialga, at least, there's something I can do. I can just farm them all the way down. This is the nice thing about Rhyperior. Mud Slap slaps them all the way, as we see 2 dragon types here. That's kinda nice for me, if you know my backline. I will be able to now let this move go through, and I can bait them for thinking that I might have a play rough here. I will be able to go for the Wild Charge. This is another Play Rough, but we're still going to get the shield. And we can go for another one as they now know that we don't have Play Rough. Maybe I should have actually went for the Close Combat just to bait that we actually still do have it. But we have 2 moves stored here, 2 Rockrakers. We will be able to go for the first one. We're going to hit this one. We're going to go for the next one. We are not going to hit this one. This is going to get shielded here, which is fine for me as I have my Togekiss. I will be able to shield up the opponent's move. And there's not a lot that they can do anymore here. I will be able to farm them all the way down as they're gonna go ahead and just decide to surrender. Next opponent, we will see the Rhyperior against a Zacian. Not ideal either, but I think actually okay-ish here. What I try to do here usually is try to go to 7 moves and then catch. The main reason for this is usually people throw out 7 moves, I think was another version here from the opponent, but they're going to go ahead and now throw only later. I will be able to do some damage with my Quick Attack already as I go for their Wild Charges. I have to go for my own Wild Charge now as well. trying to knock them out will not happen as they're going to shield this move up. I will be able to go for another like fast move here. I think my fast moves just hurt them so much that I might be able to just farm them all the way down, but they're going to decide to go into the Alga, which is even better for me. I will be able to go for one close combat and I can swap into my Rhyperior and farm them all the way down. At least that's what I thought. They can still go for an Iron Head, but luckily it doesn't knock me out yet. We're going to see the zdsgfhdfzgx coming back in. For whatever reason, I go for the wrong move here. This doesn't make sense, but they're still going to shield it for whatever reason. Doesn't make sense. But I will be able to go for another Surf here, and this will knock out the opponent, and we can align our Pokemon. We have 0 shields, but we also have a Togekiss, and my opponent decides to surrender here. Next opponent, we will see Rhyperior against Giratina. Not ideal again, but maybe we can bait them in thinking that we have a play rough version of the Zacian, which I think is pretty likely at least. So we're going to go ahead, go for one Rock Wrecker. After this one, I'm going to swap out, I think, basically immediately. Maybe I go for one more fast move, but I think I just swap out immediately. And it doesn't really matter if we have the play rough or not here, but I don't know if this was the smartest decision here, because now with this Wild Charge, they're going to have me in a spot where I have to shield anyway, and it's going to be a Shadow Ball anyway here as well, but they're going to get to the next move in time. And this is not ideal. Like, this is definitely not ideal. We will see the Shadow Ball coming through here. I will be able to hit another move if I want to, but they're going to swap out perfectly onto the Excadrill. I think that's going to win them the game. As if I got to the close combat there and they didn't catch completely randomly there, I would have been fine, but this will get the shield from the opponent. I don't get to another move here with my Rhyperior. And sadly, I'm just missing out on one turn against this Excadrill with my Zacian. I think I would have lost CMP anyway, so I think it doesn't really matter. But sadly, I'm not going to be able to win anything here, as they can go for one drill run and I don't have a chance with my Togekiss anymore. Next opponent, maybe we can do it better this time around. We see the Giratina against us here. We will be able to, actually, I think maybe next time I should just try to let them throw one Shadow Ball at me and then swap out. Let's see what we're going to do here. We're going to go still for the Rock Wrecker. Still will do a ton of damage. It's still going to put them into range for my electric moves. But we're going to see a double swap out at the same time as we're going to go into their own Zacian. They're going to throw before me, which is going to say that it's going to be a play rough most likely. I will be able to go for my what's called my Wild Charge now, which is nice. I'm gonna get there a little bit faster, I think, than them. I will be able to get shield from the opponent, which is cool. And they kind of have to go for the close combat now already, as I would get to another move very soonish, as they're gonna go for the Wild Charge now. They actually don't run close combat, they run a Wild Charge as well. Don't know why I went for 2 moves here, but it's a little bit risky, as I can still go for one Wild Charge and knock out the opponent, allowing me to realign my Pokemon. And we will see the opponent coming into their Giratina. And I swap out here for whatever reason. I have still no idea. But maybe it's still okay? I don't know. I'm gonna go for the Ancient Power here, trying to get the Vital Shield of the opponent. Do they shield this move up? They do not. But I get them lower at least, which might still be okay. They're going to farm out to 100 energy, of course, as they are not really pressured by me too much, but what I can do here is I can use my Zacian as a shield. This will absorb some energy, which is nice. They can go ahead and most likely still get to another move. Never mind, they cannot. And Rhyperior now going to be able to farm down this opponent's Giratina just with my fast moves alone. Their best buddy, it doesn't matter. Mud Slaps just slaps them in their face as we can go into the final game here. Rhyperior against Mewtwo, Shadow Mewtwo actually, which is even crazier. We will see that we can go ahead and stay in here for a little bit. The good thing about Shadow Mewtwo is my moves do more damage, and this is the main thing that I really want here. We see the Surf coming through, it's going to do a ton of damage actually. I'm going to shield out the move just in case it might be something more than a Side Strike, but it was a Side Strike. I kind of want to shield this move up as well, but I don't. I'm still going to be able to realign. It's going to be a Shadow Ball. It's going to hurt. And I will be able to get to another move here, but I'm going to swap out, most likely, I'm going to swap out into my own Zacian. The opponent's Zacian, unless they run Wild Charge, is a pretty decent matchup for my Pokemon in the back anyway. They're going to run Play Rough, which is nice. And I will be able to get a shield advantage here somewhere, at least eventually, I think. We will be able to go for one Charge move here, Wild Charge coming through, and we can get the shield advantage now, as this move would knock them out, and they're going to shield up, of course. I'm going to let this move go through, I think, because I'm going to rely on my Togekiss for this final one here, and they're going to surrender, I think, here, and they have a Dialga and they surrender. So that's going to be it for the video. This team is amazing. Actually, I had a lot of fun with it. If you have a Giratina, use it in Elite, it's a little bit better than the Rhyperior. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I see you in the next video, and have a great rest of your day, and leave a like on it. Bye!